We have to stop buying stuff.
Okay, we're going to start Vayera, page 26 in Torah Or. 26 in Torah, Parshat Vayera. It's basically one mimer for Vayera. Okay, this mimer we learned a few times. This is really fundamental mimer. Okay, Patach Eliyahu Amad, Patach Eliyahu Navi opened, started saying 1 second. The exact translations. Okay, Patach Eliyahu Amad, Eliyahu, this is what we say Friday afternoon. Eliyahu Navi opened, so to speak, opened his mouth and he said, the discourse, and he said, Antu chad v'lei b'chushbon. You are one, but not in the numerical sense, meaning you can't be counted. Antu da'pika sasa tikunin. You bring out 10 exalted ones. No, I skipped it. He skipped a whole bunch of things here. Okay. Antu chad v'lei b'chushbon. Antu ilah kol ilah. You are above all elevations. Stima d'chol stiman. Hidden of all hiddens, and no mind can possibly grasp you. Okay, that's what Eliyahu Navi says in Patach Eliyahu. So he says, "Lahavin inyan why to understand this? Lama nikri yutzfiras b'shem tikunim." Eliyahu Navi speaks about the 10 spheres, and he says, "Asa tikunin, tikuns, 10 tikun." Okay, why are the spheres called the word tikun? You should say, because yut asara spheres, you know.
What is the difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim Patach? It's a little bit difference.
No. Patach Eliyahu is a part of Zohar. Patach Eliyahu is part of Zohar. There's no difference. It's the same Zohar. It's not different versions in the Zohar.
The verbiage, like
some people pronounce words correctly. Some people pronounce words incorrectly. Baruch atah, emet. The word is emes. So it's the same word, aleph mem tov. Some people pronounce it correctly. Some people don't.
So the verbiage is the same?
Yeah, the word is the same. Okay, so he says, so glahat kimbir in your motor nefesh. We have to understand first, what is the nefesh? What is the nefesh of a yid? Kine, a nefesh mitzaratzma, the nefesh itself. Is or poshit b'li his chalka seichel amidis. The nefesh itself, the neshama, is one simplistic power. It is not seichel, it is not midas. V'seichel v'amidas shelo hem bechinas levush in the nefesh. Okay, they are only garments of the soul. Shanefesh yesh lo seichel amidas. The nefesh has seichel amidas, but seichel amidas are not the nefesh. It's, so to speak, the way the neshama expresses itself. The way the neshama expresses itself is with seichel amidas. It is not what the nefesh is. Aval ein. So right away he asks the question. In Tanya he said not like that. In Parag Gimel of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says that the nefesh is seichel amidas, and then it has the 3 garments. It says in Mashakol Tanya. This that it says in Tanya. Shenefesh atzmi is chalakes l'seichel amidas. Shenikroyim atzmi is nefesh. This that it says in Tanya. That seichel amidas are the essence of the soul, and here we're saying they're not. He says ein the el gabi machshava dibur u'maisa. He says, compared to thought, speech, and action, compared to that, intellect and midas are the essence of the neshama. So the Alter Rebbe in Parag Gimel and Dalet is speaking about the level of seichel and midas and machshava dibur u'maisa. So therefore, compared to thought, speech, and action, which is definitely not the nefesh, it's definitely the way the nefesh expresses itself. So he says in Tanya that seichel and midas are expressed through thought, speech, and action. But compared to the nefesh itself, shein levush and ifradim mosa nefesh, shein bechinas b'rir yitzir nasiya. Like it says in Kabbalah, thought, speech, and action is thought, speech, and action. Thought is bria, Yitzira is speech, and Asiya is action. Shalzeh amar levush and tekinas lein de'inun biyah. Aval ha-seichel v'amides. Seichel amides. Im yeshem b'chinas levushim, even though they're garments, einam levushim nefradim mamish. They're not separated garments. Ala k'mei kelim d'atzilas. Similar to the level of atzilas, the il v'gamer echad, where the or of Atzilus, I'll explain in a second, the Kelim of Atzilus are all one, therefore they're called Atzmius, but not Atzmius HaNefesh. So he says like this, thought, speech, and action is B'ri Yitzir Nasiya. Okay, that's already separated. Thought and speech, Seichel and Midas, intellect and emotions, are really in Atzilus. Now in Atzilus, it says, the or of Atzilus and the kelim of Atzilus are all the level of Elokus. Hashem and the or of Atzilus is the same, and the kelim of Atzilus is the same. Now, what does it mean when you have or and keli in Atzilus? Let's explain this. This is a very one. This is 101 Maamarim. Anytime I want to do Chesed, Gashmi is take away. I want to do Chesed. So I have the attribute of Chesed, and then I have the way, how do I do it? I have to speak nicely, think nicely, or give something. If I want to do Chesed, if I want to do an act of kindness, I express it in thought, speech, and action. Now, thought, speech, and action is not the kindness. It's only kindness revealed. I can hit you with the same hand. It's not the speech and action is not the actual midah. The same mouth can be nice, it can be cruel. The hand could be giving, could be hitting. So it's not, that is the way the seichel and midas, the neshama, comes into something out of the person completely. But even in Atzilus, you have the 10 spheres. Now, in Atzilus, there's the Or of Chesed, it comes into the Keli of Chesed. Or Gvura comes into the Gvura, the Keli of Chesed, of Gvura. But in Atzilus, the Or is Elokus, the Keli is Elokus. Like we learned many times, Tzemach Tzedek gives the mashal Sheshul Satzvila, that it's like colorless water in a red glass, green glass, blue glass, yellow, or whatever. So when the water comes into the glass, the water doesn't become blue. It doesn't become green. The water remains colorless. It's only from outside of the glass, it looks red, blue, and green. But it's not actually red, blue, and green. Okay, in Atzilus, when the Or of Chesed, which is infinite, comes into the Kelim, the water, even when you look at the inside the Keli, it's not red. The water is white. Colorless. It's colorless. White's also color. It's colorless. But because the Keli is completely bottled, therefore it could look various different colors. If you put green water into a red glass, it's not going to look red. It's going to look reddish green. But in Atzilus, so there's an Or Chesed and Kli Chesed. Or Gvura, Kli Gvura. There's Or Chochma, Kli Chochma. So he says the Seichel and Midas that the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya is one with the Nefesh. Compared to thought, speech, and action, which is completely not the person, therefore you could change your thought, speech, and action very easily. It's very easy to change thought, speech, and action. They're garments, you can change them. Put them on, take them off. Okay? Seichel and Midas, though, of the person are much harder to change. But never, so in Tanya he says, the Seichel and Midas compared to the garments of thought, speech, and action is the essence of the soul. Because that's the connection in Atzilus. But realistically speaking, Seichel and Midas is a limitation. It's the way the Nefesh reveals itself through intellect, through emotions. So therefore, compared to the nefesh itself, that I was saying in this Maimer, it is not the essence of the neshama. It's the way the neshama functions. But the neshama itself is, like we said many times, in our terms, the mashal of a simple battery. A battery is power. Okay? Now, you put it into a flashlight, it makes the light go on. You put it into a talking toy, it makes it talk. You put it into a car, it makes the car move. You know, whatever it is. But the battery is one simplistic power. Because the battery doesn't have power of light. Because if it does, and you put it into a walking toy, all it should do is give light. But it doesn't function like that. Right? So therefore, the whole concept of the neshama, he says, what is the neshama? He said, or pashut b'liyas chalkus. It's one simplistic power.
Speech, thought, and action affects the sechel and midot first, or the nefesh?
No, the sechel midot reveal itself through. If somebody speaks stupid, does that mean they're stupid? No, they could be brilliant. Now they decided to speak stupid.
Speech, thought, and action affects the nefesh?
Yeah.
But sechel and midot are on the way.
Sechel midot are the nefesh. But see, here, the Rebbe is explaining, it's not really the nefesh. So why the sphere is called tikunim? He says, "Shanefesh mitakenes umistabeshes bahem," because the nefesh becomes fixed, in other words, functions. Kozman it doesn't function, it's not tikkun, it's not good, it's not established. Kamesha Targum Unklis Pasuk Yilbish Gever Simla Sisha. And Targum Unklis says in the Pasuk that a man's not allowed to wear a woman's clothing. He says, Lo Yitakein Gever B'Tikuni Itza. The man should not do the tikkun of a woman, meaning the garments of a woman. So tikkunim are called garments. In tikkun, what is the level of tikkun? Milosh and tachshit. From like a jewelry piece, shemeskashit, by the person beautifies himself, adorns himself with it. O mispoil mimanu becomes affected by misachit im tachshit zeh ki'ilu migufei mamish. If a person is wearing a necklace, it beautifies it, makes the person look nicer, officially. Officially, jewelry makes the person look nicer. And therefore it becomes mamish the person. You look at the person, you don't see the person and the jewelry. You see, it's one thing, the person and the jewelry. Even though it's not the person. The jewelry is the jewelry, you can take it off. But nevertheless, it beautifies the person. Seichel and Midas beautify the neshama, but it is not the neshama. The jewelry is not the person.
It's an ornament.
It's an ornament, but it beautifies the person. But it's not the person. Seichel and Midas beautify the neshama, but it's not the neshama. He says, Kamei ha-nefesh shemaguf, like the nefesh with the body, she'im ha-yes, sha'guf u'levush le-nefesh, even though l'cheira, you have, he does windows.
Yes.
You need on the second floor.
I was hoping it cleans it here too, but he
And
didn't.
that's in the right direction.
So he says, like the nefesh and the guf. The nefesh and the guf are not one thing. It's two separate things. Nefesh comes in the guf. The nefesh leaves the guf. But when the nefesh is in the guf, it's one thing. You don't look at it two separate things. It's the nefesh functioning in the guf. But the nefesh is not the guf, and the guf is not the nefesh. That's the same thing of seichel and midas, the tikkunim of the neshama. Seichel and midas are the tikkunim of the neshama, but it's not the neshama. He said, Mikama came out of a nefesh, mispa'elis mimikri aguf. He says, even though the nefesh is not the guf, it's not the body, but the nefesh is affected by the body. Why? When the body hurts the finger, yeah, it bangs it. Margeshes ha-nefesh. The nefesh feels it. A dead body doesn't feel anything. Right? A dead body doesn't feel anything. So what feels it? When a person's alive and the guy bangs his finger, who feels it? The nefesh. It's not the guf. Why should the nefesh feel what the guf does? It's not the guf. There's a nefesh and a guf. But it becomes mamish one. And therefore, the neshama affects the body. The nefesh wants to go somewhere, the body goes. And when the body hurts itself, the nefesh feels it. The same thing. Second, it enters the mind of the nefesh. To affect the limbs in any whatsoever. You know, they come later to clean the shul. I don't know what you're doing.
The arm? Rabbi, let them do it. Go ahead.
Oh, the arm? Okay.
Yeah, the ring.
I thought it's going to stay like this.
No. Yes.
Nishmoim l'ratzon zeh. But they don't do the windows. Hello. In the building, they need the windows. Nishmoim l'ratzon zeh. Okay, take off from miyad. Sha'el b'tzayin elasis apula. The second, the nefesh decides to do something. By the way, the body doesn't want to do anything. A dead body can't do anything. There's no wanting. When the nefesh is in the body, it's two separate entities. The nefesh is nefesh and guf is guf. Yet, when the body hurts, the nefesh feels it. When the nefesh wants to move, the body moves. So even though they're two separate entities, but they become one. But they're not one. The guf and the nefesh are not one. They're two separate things. But they function as one. The nefesh is not the seichel amidas, but the nefesh functions as seichel amidas. Belishim kedima is pashas hamshach zemachshava me'merchel. He said, there's no time. In other words, like this: the guy says, "Okay, I want to move my hand," so you have to go from the brain, get the permits, move the hand. You know, it doesn't work like that. It would take a few seconds to make it happen. The second thing, he wants to move, he moves. So why is this? Because the body and nefesh become one. And therefore the nefesh does to the body what it wants to do. As if it would be the same thing. Even though the body is not the nefesh. It's the way the soul functions through the body. Okay, so the Alter Rebbe is giving a mashal of the seichel, neshama, nefesh, and seichel is the mashal of nefesh and guf. They're two separate entities. They function as one. There, but nobody's going to come along and say the guf is the nefesh. It's not. They function as one. The nefesh is not seichel amides. Compared to thought, speech, and action, the seichel amides are one with the nefesh. Because they mamish function together. Thought, speech, and action, I could stop thinking, talking, and doing. It's not functioning with the nefesh. So he says, so we can understand inyan ha-seichel v'amidas shel ha-nefesh. The seichel amidas of the nefesh, shem gam kin rapachinas tukun and mulavushim. They are only the level of garments. Sha-nefesh mitakenes. The nefesh becomes functioning. Umislabesh is bahem and dresses itself into it. Vein klei ha-nefesh. They're the vessels of the nefesh. Shebahem val yodei pe'elas ha-nefesh. That the nefesh functions through the body, kagazim biyad ha'chaytzev, like the axe in the hand of the chopper. Now the axe and the person, when they're chopping wood, become one. Mm-hmm. The person is functioning through the axe. Without the axe, he can't function. But that doesn't mean the axe and the person are the same thing. The nefesh functions through seichel amides, but it's not.
What is the Alter Rebbe
How does he know this?
No, where is he getting it?
Where's he
How was
getting to?
inspired? What was inspired?
Okay, we understand that. They are not, they function as one. So-
I would suggest we wait
So what?
until we finish the minor.
But Rabbi, the one that holds the axe or someone that plays the violin, there is a level of competence that makes him one. Sometimes there is dissonance.
The nefesh and the guf also have to be one. A sick body doesn't function. The nefesh can't function in a sick body. The axe, in order to function, has to be completely bottled to the chopper.
Right.
Okay. If the body is not completely bottled to the nefesh, it's sick. It can't function.
The chopper has to have some level of.
I understand. The nefesh is very competent.
You mean the player?
The nefesh is competent. And it functions through seichel and midas.
It needs some honing of skill, doesn't it? To be one with the vessel. It takes some honing and skills to be one with the kli that you use. No? Same like a body.
Not by a nefesh in a body, it doesn't have to function. If you wanna, if the body wants to function properly with the nefesh. By the way, he's not even talking the nefesh kiss here. By the way, he's talking about the nefesh abamis. It gives life to the body. The nefesh functions through seichel and midas. You have a nefesh kiss. You have a nefesh abamis. What is the purpose of this in understanding Avodas Hashem? We'll see later how it comes out into the actual.
Purpose, set the source.
I understand the source.
Inspiration.
But by understanding who we are, who am I? Am I,
That's a big question.
Who am I? So the Alter Rebbe is explaining who you is.
Okay.
Who I is, you know? No, really. A person has to know who they are to know what they can do. And if you know who you are, then you function much better. The most important thing in life is a person to know what they want.
And what tools you have in your...
First, you have to know what you want. Because when you know what you want, it's because you have the tools for it. If you wouldn't have the tools, you wouldn't want it. Even if the wanting is a dream, it's what I want is something, whoa, yeah, but you have the tools to make it happen. Does Hashem want it to happen? That's a separate story. Even let's say in Shidduchim, yeah, until a boy and a girl, each one of them knows what they want in life, what their goal is, what are they, what do you want? They can't get married.
Most people don't.
That's the problem. That's why the world is so messed up. I'm serious.
Some people don't know what they want and they...
I still don't know.
The exception makes the rule. No, I'm serious. In life, what do we have to know this for? Why do we have to know Einod Milvadei? Why do we have to know? Well, who cares? What's the whole purpose of Chassidus? The whole purpose of Chassidus is to understand who we are, who Hashem is, based on our ability to understand, and how we can connect, and how we are connected, and how we need to connect more. If you say Einod Milvadei, that only the Eibusher, only Hashem exists, so then you understand that anything which is contrary to Hashem, I shouldn't be doing. And until you do that, you don't feel Einod Milvadei. You can say a nice slogan, Einod Milvadei, that's beautiful, But Kozman, you don't live it, and you don't feel it in a way subjectively permeating your existence, that the only thing, like the Chassid Alter Rebbe, Yom Kletzke, the sum total Einod Milvadei. It wasn't fake by him. To look cute. Today we'll do it, we'll look cute, Einod Milvadei. But that was his subconscious thing. The sum total of my whole business is Einod Milvadei. In order for that to happen, a person needs to know, who am I? because once I know who I am, I can begin understanding what my role is.
Well, that changes every day, and it's a lifetime process.
No, but
No.
we don't have the courage.
The essence of the goal doesn't change.
Most of us.
There's
don't-
one goal.
Most of us.
How to get to the goal, the roads. So even Google Maps at this time of the day, you go this way. This time of the day, you go this way. But the destination is the same. Kozman, you don't know where I'm going. You can't use Google Maps or Waze. First, you have to know where I'm going. You know, it's interesting. You go on it says search. Yeah, you have to put in the destination.
Gives you 4 choices.
Ki sidrashanu umatsasa, you'll find him. What's the part? No. What? No. Whatever. It says you have to seek out God, and you'll find him. Umatsasik.
המחפש ימצא, משהו כזה.
No, whatever. There's a pasuk in the Torah. No, I forgot. It just slipped my tongue. Anyway, but that's what it is. So we need to know who we are.
Shkoach.
Yes, thank you.
It's
Good.
Now you know who you are?